right here. So what we are going to do is we are going to get an estimated GOP or estimated numbers or overall P&L numbers. So this is a setup of overall P&L numbers, sample hotels. So I call them as quick budget calculations because you can estimate the revenue room sold and average room nights per for that hotel, right? You can do the because you have done your revenue budget already. You have done your F&B revenue budget already. The rest of them at the moment you don't need to do it too details. The rest of them you can just plug the numbers. So this template will tell you this is 2 years template. So now you have a revenue for the rooms revenue. That it will share you the percentage, right? So here you are calculating okay how much. So these are all actual numbers. You can see them. So what we want to do is we want to achieve this year how much realistically we will get based on the previous year. So the yellow highlighted.
This is yearly, right?
Yearly. Yeah. So what we want to achieve is first we have done the revenue budget. After the revenue budget, we want to understand how much will be our total GOP based on this revenue. Because you don't want to spend your time in doing more detailed revenue, more detailed budget, unless you are satisfied that your marketing activities, your operating budget of occupancy and your covers is going to give you enough profit, right? Otherwise, you need to if you keep on changing your revenue budget, your expense budget and other budgets are going to keep on changing as well. So first step is, in my understanding, first step is to finalize the revenue budget. You can continue to set up the other expenses as well at the same time because you can always look in the Excel workbooks which are linked together. So you change one number and then the other numbers will follow to change immediately. So this is yeah.
So you have a 25 room, available is 9,000, this is multiplied by
365.
365.
Yes. Yes.
But the occupancy is why it's 49. You have to be 100%, right?
No, the occupancy is based on the room sold. Room sold. Yeah, room sold divided by the available rooms. So that becomes 49%. So in this case, the actual hotel has achieved 3,800 or 2,800, and now the forecast is 4,500. At the rate of, so they are reducing the rate and increasing the occupancy. So this is a strategy point, right? So now they are going to get, okay, we are going to get 118,000. So how much will be the F&B revenue? We have done the F&B revenue, right? So here, what they are doing is they are multiplying the F&B revenue, this one with. So we have done a ratio analysis here, simple ratio analysis. How much is your F&B revenue last year compared to the room revenue? How much is your other operating department revenue compared to the room revenue in the previous years? And then this year we can change. We can make an estimate. Okay, if last year was 0.59, maybe this year this is a percentage. Sorry, this is a percentage. I didn't put it as a percentage, so we can change it to percentage. So based on your past trends, you are able to achieve 50, your F&B revenue was 59%. Previous year was 68%. So what I did is average. But you can, depending on your forecast, depending on your economic situation, you can maybe change it to 65 or you can keep it at 60% as well. So the number will change on the upper side because they are formulated. So first thing is to understand your ratios. What are your ratios? How much is your F&B revenue compared to the room revenue? How much is your OOD compared to your F&B? Then what is your food cost or beverage cost together compared to the F&B revenue? And then what are the other expenses ratios compared to the revenue? Other non-labor expenses. What are the non-labor expenses? So here in the P&L, you will see we have separated the cost. Here is the total revenue. So the total revenue here is, can I make it a full screen? Then maybe it's more bigger. So no, sorry. Go back. I don't know how to make it a full screen. Huh? No. Just projector is okay. I just want to hide this. Better. This one? No, this page big preview. Okay, this one seems to be better. Okay, now you can see more P&L in one screen. Okay, so here you can see we have done cost of sales separately. So the cost of sale is also formulated from the total respective revenue, right? So now you have payroll related. Payroll is not related on the revenue because it's a fixed cost. So payroll you can estimate based on the previous year history. So the previously you are spending on 12,000. So this year you can make an estimate. Maybe I want to increase by 10%, or maybe I want to give an increment of 5% to the staff or 10% to the staff based on the inflation or based on your higher revenue. So in this case you are giving a business increase by how much percentage? By 37%. So your business is going to increase by 37%. Does it require change in labor or not? It may be. It may require you to hire more housekeepers. It may require more because it will increase the F&B covers as well. So it may require you to have more waiters, more servers. So that one is a broad judgment you need to make here first so that you can estimate the labor cost increase. So that's why I increased labor cost by 10% in this case. So once you increase your labor by 10%, and then you have all the labor costs will increase by 10%. So this is just only estimation at the moment. It's not yet real because we are just doing a quick budget to understand how much the profitability will increase based on the revenue numbers, right? And then you're gonna get other expenses. So other expenses are based on the ratio that we just looked at under here. So the other expenses are ratio to the revenue. So we have calculated the past two ratios, past 2 months, and then we can calculate this month, this year. And then the other expenses here. So payroll expenses again. So other department expenses also we have breakdown into payroll and non-payroll. Because payroll is fixed, the other expenses are most likely be relating to the revenue. So that's why we split them out. And then we can achieve at the gross operating profit. So here in this case, you can see if we are increasing the occupancy like this, so we are increasing the revenue by from previous year compared to this year by 218 to 325. So the GOP, the operating profit will increase by from 80,000 to 150,000, right? And the percentage is going to be 45%, 37%, and come back to 46%. So then, if let's say this seems to be acceptable, so these numbers will become like a guide for the departments. So the marketing department knows apart from labor, I can spend another 181,000. Oh, sorry, $181. That's very poor budget for marketing. But that's an example, okay? So then now they can know, okay, how much I'm going to spend on the marketing, how much I'm going to spend on the other non-labor cost. Correct? The administration department knows apart from labor, I will be able to spend another 4,600 on other expenses, other activities, maybe training activities, maybe security activities, all those kind of other activities. So this is how we do the a quick budget. Okay?
This is the one made after the test budget or before?
Before. But you can use this format to link up all the individual budgets to see what is the real number. So you can add one more table here. So this one is just only your quick budget, right? So you can add one more table, one more column here. Sorry. To do your real numbers, so that you know that they are that the numbers that you are getting in actual are similar to what you expected or higher or lower, right? But this one is done before the detailed budget. This one is done only after the revenue is done, only after the broad revenue is done, which is we did in this worksheet. In this worksheet, yes. So each individual room division has done their revenue budget approximately. So now we are going to do a quick budget first to see is these numbers or this strategy is going to work or not for us. Some hotels may be not doing a quick budget. Maybe they just go directly, okay, revenue budget and then go to the individual expenses, and then after that you compile together. So there's after that, but the risk in that one is if it doesn't reach your expectations, then you have to change each and everything. But if you have done a quick budget earlier already, so you know the numbers, and you have given a guideline to the department, these are your numbers. This is how much you're going to spend in labor. This is how much you're going to spend in non-labor. If they really cannot make it, then they will come back to you and say, okay, I need more. I need more allowance. So you can play around the numbers, okay, where I can reduce. Because most of the time, the GOP numbers are fixed. Like if you are working for a five-star hotel, normally the numbers of the GOP increase percentage are given to you as a target. This is your target, right? Sometimes they give a guideline. Okay, I am expecting 10% increase in the GOP. 10% increase in the profit. So how you are going to increase the profit? So you can play around the numbers. So the marketing department will also come back to you and say how much occupancy you want now, how much occupancy you want me to achieve. So it depends on your target, right? So as a finance person, you need to give them, okay, you need to achieve some number. So let's play around with this one a little bit. Let's say your target is the hotel is given a target to achieve $200,000. Let's say for example, right? So how you are going to achieve that? So now you are going to play around in the numbers. So the first thing you do is play around with the Excel, play around with your numbers, right? So maybe you can increase. Now you can say, okay, the occupancy is increasing already quite significantly. So maybe there is not much scope of increasing the occupancy. Let's try to increase the rate. So let's try to increase the rate to maybe 45. But the challenge is if you increase the occupancy, if you increase the rate, you may not be able to increase your occupancy, right? So what here is you can see the total number has changed to 180,000, right? Because everything else has changed. But if now it's still not enough, right? So let's play it down to 5,000. So now your occupancy is 54%. So the number of GOP has come to 209. So which is near your target, what you want to achieve. So let's say you cannot say, okay, you cannot increase both way, right? So let's bring down the rate to $40 and increase the rate to 6,000. Increase the occupancy to 6,000. What is the budget now? Oh, 229. Okay, too much. So you can bring it down maybe 5750. So this is total departmental profit is now 216. So it still have some scope. So maybe you reduce the rate some. So now you are at 193. So you can increase again 38. Okay, 201,000. So you get your numbers. Now you can tell the marketing, okay, you can try to achieve this 63% occupancy at the rate of 38. Because last previous 2 year you made 43 and you were able to make 42% occupancy. Now I'm giving you a much lower rate, so you can sell cheaper. So you can play around with the volume. So your revenue is gonna be 5,750. So this
Can I see the 2017-18 profit?
2017-18 profit is here 136.
126 and this 2019 is
201,000. So it just depends on how you play around with your target. Sometimes you are given a target to achieve some numbers, right? So you can play around with your numbers in your occupancy, in your forecast. Okay, how much I can play around. So you need to formulate your sheets based on your variable cost, on your fixed cost, and then you can play around the occupancy. So now you can give a guidance to marketing. Please achieve around 5,750 room nights. So now they will go back and adjust in their marketing here to achieve in total 5,700. So how they do it is they're gonna play around on a year basis first for the whole year, not by each and every month. Otherwise, it's too time consuming to reach there, right? So first you try to achieve in the whole year how much I can get from public, how much I can get for wholesale, where I'm gonna increase. I am gonna increase the target. I'm gonna target the public segment. Am I going to target the wholesale segment? Am I going to target the weddings? Am I going to target the groups? So what I'm going to target? Then they will break it down into monthly budget, and then they will write down their marketing strategy. Okay, in this month I can expect this group. Now I need to do the marketing for this. So this is how you are going to achieve your operation marketing budget as well at the same time. So since you have designed the number already, so this number is not going to change significantly, right? Clear, right? So then you are able to do your revenue budget. So this is how you are going to do the. These are the steps. Different scenario can have different steps. Depends on what is the situation on hand. If you are given a target, then you work backwards. If you have no target and your corporate office is generous and saying, okay, whatever you realistically can do, please do that. Okay, so you are not going to do a quick budget anymore. What you are going to do is you are going to do the revenue budget here first, based on what realistically you can do and what you think you can do by achieving your marketing activities for each segment first, and then you are going to do the other expenses budget and outlet budget separately after you do. So the first step is doing the revenue budget, because this is the basis. If you don't know how much occupied room nights you have, you cannot do the other budgets. Okay, clear? Okay, so once we have done the revenue budget like this, then we go for F&B, right? Then the rooms department, then you can distribute this budget, the room revenue budget, to every department, to the F&B department, to the rooms department, to the housekeeping department, to the finance, to marketing, to maintenance, for them to do their own budgets separately. So the F&B budget, that we as we discussed, you can do like this, the revenue, correct, by each meal period, and then you are doing it for each individual outlet, and after that you're going to combine it together in form of a P&L. So here is the expenses. So expenses we are going to look after the break. So the other departments, you can just make any sheet, like even you can follow the same sheet. Where is the outlet again? Here, you can follow this sheet for other operating department also. So instead of saying the covers, for example spa, you can say how many percent guests will come to the spa. So you can change this to spa covers, and then how much they will be spending in the hotel. So if you are doing other department like transportation or other, you can follow the same structure. Instead of doing by meal period, it's just by for the each month. You don't need to do it for meal period, because spa doesn't have meal period, transportation doesn't have meal period. It's just for whole day, right? So you can do it one consolidated lump sum. Again, the spa, you can have in-house covers also, in-house guests, and you can have outside guests also, right? You can even do the other more detail in the menu engineering. What treatment I will be able to get to reach this number of treatments. So these are morely on the detail. So the marketing and operational budget will drive from this revenue. So if you are able to say, okay, you're gonna get 10 covers, so which treatment I will be focusing most. So which treatment I will be selling the most. For menu, for F&B, you cannot do that because you have a huge menu to sell. And it also depends on the guest preferences on each month. You cannot really do that. But for spa, maybe easier to do. For transportation, maybe easier to do. Adventure, maybe easier to do. So once you finish that revenue budget, and you are doing, so here also for F&B as well, you are going to do a marketing plan for each month separately, right? So you can draw out a plan for the marketing, for the calendar. Okay, so you can have a marketing calendar either in the same sheet, or you can have a separate sheet. So you can plan out your marketing. Here this month I'm gonna do a Facebook marketing. In this month I'm gonna maybe make a guest chef. So this is how we used to do for making our expenses, right? If you don't know what you planning, then you cannot plan the expenses, correct? So you are maybe in this month you are going to make a band, yeah? You can maybe calling an international band into your hotel, or maybe in this month. So it depends on what month you want to do what kind of activities. So it will help you to make your operational budget at the same time, right? Correct? So because F&B marketing is different from the rooms division marketing. How is it different?
We didn't use it. We use it as a promotion plan.
Yeah, you can say marketing calendar. You can make a promotion plan. Is the same thing. Yes.
And for marketing.
Yes.
Follow up.
Yeah, for making the for them to make the creatives, for them to start planning out the Facebook post, for them to start making out the artwork, designing, because those all things take time, right? So you are now coordinating your activities in the same manner. So they can also plan their printing and stationery expenses, how much they are going to do the outsourcing, because not everything they can do by themselves. Correct. They also need to do from something they do from outside outsource also. So once you make this kind of plan, so this one is going to affect your revenue also in this month. So this will affect your revenue and this will affect your expenses as well. So your expenses will also go high and your average check will also go high because you are charging a higher rate from the new year. So for example, like New Year's, our average check is quite high because you are selling the New Year tickets, right? So then you can plan out your promotion plan, your calendar plan, and then you can work out on your expenses. So the expenses is in this one. So since we are on this sheet, we can finish up the expenses of this as well anyway. So for expenses, you are going to do for each individual expense. Maybe expenses we do later. We finish up the revenue first. It's easier to do. Otherwise, we are not following the correct structure. Okay. So is there any other question on revenue part? I think otherwise the revenue will be finished. Yeah. So that was the second step that we discussed. Estimate the grand P&L and set up the budget limits. So this one is you are setting up the trends for variable expenses and then you are going to make some assumptions for your fixed expenses. For example, labor or utilities. How much percentage is going to increase? And then you are going to build a model for scenarios. Scenario, yes, that's right. Scenario. This is one thing I forgot. Okay, here I made a little scenario, right? So to achieve your, so this the scenario is to achieve your GOP of 200,000. It's already achieving 200,000. But what if your revenue is, okay, you can link this actually. I'm just making a little scenario for you to understand how it's changed. Okay, let's say you have different scenarios here, right? What will happen if your occupancy change from 5,750, which is at the moment, to another increase in 10% with the same rate, 35 or 38. So at the moment, this is your actual scenario. Where is it? Oh, sorry. So it should be 201,000 at this rate. $5,700. Strange. Very strange. Okay. Never mind. Seems to be something wrong here because it should change. Enable contents. Huh? Let's see. Yeah, the new Excel version is a bit slow. Anyway, there was a table. I don't know if you know this use of data tables in Excel. So that is helpful in making scenarios. Once you have tabulated your formulas, then you can make a different scenario for different options. So it will help you to easily gauge how much percentage you need to increase your occupancy or how much percentage you need to increase or decrease your rates. I will show you how to do it if it respond at the moment. Okay, responding. Oh my god. Contacting the server. Internet. Oops. Sorry. Seems to be that internet is not working anymore. Okay, never mind. So I just want to explain you the. It will continue to give me the message. Finally. Calculation options are already automatic. Okay. So how you are doing the data table, right? So data table is giving you an option. For example, I remove this all. So the data table is means that you are making out the possible two scenarios. You can make it two factors only or one factor. So this row is about occupancy. So we are going to see how if the occupancy change from this to this or to this, how the profit will change, because we want to understand the profit, right? And then this is on the rate side. So the way we do the data table is this way. So we select. So here is what we want to achieve finally. So this is where we link what we want to achieve, and this all has to be linked. If you want to key in, if you key in only, it will not work. So it has to be linked with your sheet which you want to achieve. So you want to achieve the GOP. So you can link it with your GOP number, and then you are going to select this until the option you want to change, and then you go to the data table. Under data, what if analysis and data table, and then you will put what is the row cell. So the row cell here is your occupancy, right? The row is occupancy, correct? So the occupancy is this link. So you need to link the, but it has to be a key in. It should not be a formula. And the column is your rates. So you click with your rates, and then you can click OK. So it will give you a scenario. What will happen if your occupancy drops to 5175 at the rate of 35? So this will be your profit. And 575 at the rate of 35 will give you a profit of 152. 6325 at the rate of 35 will give you a profit of 175. And 6958 will give you a profit of 230. So, and then 5175 at the rate of 38 will give you a profit of 199. 575 at the rate of 38 should give you 201. I don't know why it show why it show 199. And the occupancy at 6325 based on 38 will give you a forecast of 227. So you don't need to play here. You don't need to change here all the time. Correct? You can always change here. You just need to look at it. You can look at this one. So instead of saying that okay, what should be the occupancy, so you can play around this number as well. So what if it's 6,000? So the table will change automatically. What 6,000 at the rate of 38 or at the rate of 40 at the rate of 42? What will happen? Or what if it's 6,500? So you can play around the numbers to see how it will change. Okay, there is something wrong with the sheet because the rate is different and the occupancy is different, so it should be separate number also, but it's coming out separately. That one I need to check what's wrong with the formula. Okay, but ideally this is the data table to create a scenario of what will happen if my occupancy change to another number or my rates change to another number. So just to play around.